Movie to video game adaptations are often terrible. I'd give some examples to back my argument, but I don't think that's necessary. What I'm saying is pretty much common knowledge. Still, I never outright dismiss movie games, knowing that occasionally a good one pops up every now and again. In this episode, I'm going to talk about a classic horror movie franchise that has yet to become a video game property, though it almost got its chance back in 1990. Released in 1987, the first Hellraiser movie was written and directed by Clive Barker. For those of you who haven't seen it, the film basically tells the tale of Larry and Julia, a married couple whose relationship is flawed to say the least. Julia is obsessed with Frank, Larry's brother, and has even slept with him on occasion. Now Frank's something of a weirdo sex pervert. He's constantly on the search for a new crazy kink. Unfortunately for him, he lives in the late 1980s, so the internet as we know it is still years away. That means Frank has to physically traverse the globe in order to get his rocks off. One day, while traipsing through the filth, he discovers the Lament Configuration. This puzzle box is said to unlock pleasure beyond any known in the mortal realm. What it actually does, for simplicity's sake, is it opens up a pathway to hell, and Frank gets swallowed by it. The rest of the movie involves Frank somehow escaping hell, and through a series of unfortunate events, Larry's daughter, Christy, is tasked with sending him back. I won't discuss the plot any further for risk of spoiling it, but it goes without saying that I highly recommend watching it. DVD copies are fairly cheap, and it's also currently streaming on Netflix. Sometime shortly after Hellraiser's 1987 release, a company called Color Dreams acquired the rights to make a Hellraiser video game. Apparently Dan Lawton, one of the company founders, enjoyed the film so much that he talked his partners into spending a reported $35,000 to $50,000 for the video game rights. In case you're unaware, Color Dreams is known for developing and publishing unlicensed NES games. Baby Boomer, Crystal Mines, Master Chew and the Drunkard Who. The list of titles is quite extensive. Hellraiser was being developed using an advanced version of the Wolfenstein 3D engine. Unfortunately, this engine was far too complex for the NES hardware itself, so Color Dreams hired an engineer and tasked him with creating a super cartridge. You can find all the technical details on this cart online. I won't repeat them here because I'm not a tech guy and they don't really make much sense to me. Suffice it to say, this beefed up cartridge would have been quite expensive to produce, and that cost definitely would have carried over to the purchase price. There were also concerns that many retail stores would refuse to sell Hellraiser on the grounds that it wasn't officially licensed by Nintendo. Overall, the proposal for a Hellraiser game was deemed too much of a risk for Color Dreams, so they ultimately abandoned the project in 1990. It's really a shame because this game sounds like it would have been interesting. According to what I read online, you were set to play as a character who was trapped inside the Lament Configuration. You'd have to solve the puzzle from within the box in order to escape it, all the while being chased by Cenobites, which are essentially demons for all intents and purposes. When asked how far the project had been developed, Dan Lawton said, "The hardware was done, and the artwork was 20% done. There was no programming. It was a 45-degree down-angle view with a maze of stone and walls and pits." That doesn't really sound like much progress to me, but apparently it was enough to warrant official advertisements in various gaming magazines. Take a look at how ridiculously ambitious this game was. It claims to have over 1 million worlds, with over 100 different enemy demons. The largest game yet for Nintendo. No shit. 2016's Doom wasn't even that complex. Who wrote this advertisement anyway? Peter Molyneux? The craziest part of this whole story is knowing that Color Dreams eventually formed Wisdom Tree in 1991, a company notorious for its unlicensed Christian-themed Nintendo games. So titles like Spiritual Warfare and Bible Adventures have a somewhat obscure association with Clive Barker's Hellraiser. In fact, Wisdom Tree eventually took their advanced Wolfenstein 3D engine, exercised the Hellraiser elements, and turned it into Super Noah's Ark 3D for Super Nintendo. Maybe that's the reason why you're tasked with killing so many goddamn goats in that game. They represent the devil. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in watching some amazing reviews of the Hellraiser franchise, you should definitely check out a YouTube channel called Gorehounds. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Later.